In the first half of 2025, over 17,000 physical stores closed in China, from supermarkets and clothing stores to restaurants and department stores. The number of store closures is rapidly approaching 110,000. Walking through once-bustling shopping areas today, people notice that many malls are empty, and vacant spaces have become the norm. This is especially true in first-tier cities like Beijing and Shanghai. What's more alarming is that this isn't an isolated incident, but a direct result of oversupply in the physical retail industry. What was once a top Beijing mall where people waited in line for an hour is now up for sale. Behind this is a threefold impact: excess commercial space, declining sales, and downgraded consumer spending. It's hard to believe that what was once called the global store king is now up for sale. In the first half of this year, Boyle Capital's USD fund, through related parties, proposed to acquire 42 to 45% of the management rights and physical assets of Beijing SKP. For a high-end mall like SKP, which attracts the most affluent consumers in Beijing and leads global sales, the idea of it being sold seems unimaginable. This move is seen as a major signal of China's economic decline and the cooling of luxury consumption. SKP was originally a partnership between Beijing Hualian and Taiwan's Xingkong Mitsukoshi. In 2015, Hualian took full control and rebranded it as SKP, bringing in top luxury brands like Prada, Gucci, and Chanel. In 2020, its sales reached 17.7 billion yuan, surpassing the UK's Harrods, making it a landmark for luxury shopping in Asia. Similarly, the Joy City Mall in Beijing's Daxing district couldn't escape the fate of being sold. This underground mall, with more than 7,000 parking spaces and immense foot traffic during the National Day holiday, is now being sold by its parent company, Inca Group. Malls in Beijing have been falling like autumn leaves in recent years, one after another. On October 10th, the Parkson Commercial Group announced that its wholly owned subsidiary, Parkson Commercial Development Company, would terminate the lease agreement with the China Arts and Crafts Group ahead of schedule. The Beijing Fuxing Min store will be closed on December 31st, 2025. In a frank announcement, the company admitted that continuous losses made it unsustainable, and the only option was to cut its losses. The Fuxingmin Parkman store opened in March 1994, covering an area of about 15,000 square meters. Initially positioned as a mid to high-end department store, it served as the starting point for Parkson Group's rapid expansion across China, with 43 diverse stores in 25 cities. The location of the Fuxingmin Parkson store was prime, situated along Chang'an Street and near the Financial Street, a hub for state-owned enterprises and well-known financial companies. This high-net-worth area brought continuous high purchasing power to nearby businesses. Parkson is a chain department store under Malaysia's Golden Lion Group. However, in recent years, Parkson has faced a sluggish market. In August this year, the company announced its mid-year results, revealing a total sales revenue of 4.15 billion yuan, a decline of 11.5% compared to the previous year. The group cited factors such as increasing external uncertainty and weak revenue growth projections, which have collectively influenced consumer spending behavior. This isn't just a problem of the Fuxingmen Parkson. Many older malls in Beijing are facing similar challenges. On October 13th, a video taken by a netizen showed the closing scene of Wumat's Wangjing Qiling Mall in Beijing. A banner was displayed in the store, stating from October 5th to October 14th, all items are 50% off. As China's economy continues to decline, the restaurant industry is also facing a tough winter. Recently, the globally known restaurant brand Din Tai Fung announced that its WeChat store would cease operations on November 30th, 2025. Now, even online WeChat stores are shutting down, leading netizens to speculate. Is Din Tai Fung planning to completely exit the mainland China market? At its peak, the brand had 32 stores across China. With increasing market competition, Din Tai Fung has struggled in the mainland market, leading to the closure of many stores. According to media reports, in the first 7 months of 2024, Din Tai Fung's 14 stores in North China were estimated to have lost 44.8 million yuan. In August that same year, the brand closed 14 stores, marking its complete exit from the North China market. As of September 2025, the latest store information shows that Din Tai Fung still has 14 stores left in Shanghai, Hangzhou, Wuxi, Suzhou, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou. Founded in 1958, Din Tai Fung became famous for its 18-fold soup dumplings and gradually grew into a global restaurant brand. It had over 160 branches in countries like China, Japan, the US, South Korea, and Singapore. In 1993, the New York Times named Din Tai Fung one of the top 10 restaurants in the world. Despite the closures in China, Din Tai Fung opened a new store in Vancouver, Canada in May, which saw long lines and was exceptionally popular. This shows that Din Tai Fung's brand value and product strength are still highly regarded globally. The entire physical retail sector in China is currently going through a winter. Recently, a blogger posted a video saying,
"Look at this. You wouldn't guess which food street this is. This is Wanda Golden Street, once the bustling Wanda Golden Street in Beijing. On a Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m., it will be packed with people. But now, does the current foot traffic justify the rent here? Look at how many storefronts are up for rent."
One key reason people aren't visiting malls is that ordinary people are tightening their belts. According to the Beijing Municipal Bureau of Statistics, in August 2025, the city's retail sales of consumer goods dropped 11.4% year-on-year. Among this, retail sales of goods fell by 12.3%, and dining revenue dropped by 3.4%. From January to August, the total retail sales of consumer goods decreased by 5.1% compared to the previous year. It has been found that Beijing's retail sales of consumer goods have been declining for 11 consecutive months since October 2024, with a sharp 9.9% drop in March. It must be emphasized that the various levels of the Chinese Communist Party Statistic Bureau are known for beautifying economic data. The actual decline in Beijing's consumption data may be even larger. Recent research by Wang Guochen, a research assistant at the Tsinghua Institute for Economic Research, indicates that after inflating GDP and unemployment data, the Chinese authorities began inflating consumption growth data starting 2025, averaging an over-reporting of 1 percentage point per month to dilute the impression of a consumption downturn. The collapse of Beijing's retail data further exposes the fatal imbalance in consumption structure. It also reveals the harsh truth about the high-end consumer market. A deeper crisis behind the data is the complete collapse of consumer confidence in Beijing. The 38 trillion yuan mortgage burden feels like a heavy shackle. As economic expectations weaken, consumption in high-leverage cities like Beijing has already plummeted. The 88.8% drop in profits for large-scale restaurants reflects a collective downgrade from high-end dining to takeout. There's a 49.7% surge in delivery workers, vividly illustrating the cruel reality of this consumption downgrade. Burdened with debts, more and more people are feeling the weight and helplessness of life. One netizen working in Beijing shared,
In
Beijing, many large companies are cutting salaries and laying off workers. Small businesses are on the brink of bankruptcy. Even those running street-side shops are barely holding on. The few who are actually making money are very rare. People like us, the office workers, go to work every day, and at the end of the month, we're digging one hole to cover another, trying not to fall behind. I've maxed out a bunch of credit cards, taken out a lot of loans, and every month when I get paid, I can barely cover them. It's not that young people don't want to spend, it's just that there's no money left in their pockets. Honestly, young people today don't talk about savings. Having no debt is already considered quite impressive. On October 9th, Mr. Ding, who runs a small supermarket in Beijing, posted a video saying,
Beijing's supermarkets are completely unmanageable. There isn't a single one that's doing well. If we don't stock goods, there's nothing to sell. If we do stock, we can't sell it. To sell more, I'm selling vegetables at a loss of a few cents per kilogram. But I still can't sell enough by closing time. I throw away more than I sell every day. It's impossible. I can't do it anymore.
It's not just Beijing. Shanghai is also experiencing a noticeable sense of stagnation. Foot traffic at malls is sparse, and the streets are eerily quiet. Has consumption in Shanghai completely collapsed? Why are there so many physical stores closing? I've looked into 4 cases. Let's take a look at how bad the situation really is. Is this still Baoshan Golden Street, one of Shanghai's top 3 shopping areas? The first-floor restaurants along the street have all shut down. Even big names like Firewood House Barbecue couldn't hold on. Family Mart convenience stores have gone out of business. Even basic consumer demand has vanished. Inside Golden Street, it's worse. Every few stores, there's an empty storefront. Walk a bit further, and you'll find a dozen stores, all with for rent signs on them. The first floor is like this, and the second floor has turned into a ghost street, with a 90% closure rate. If I come at night, I wouldn't even dare to go upstairs to shop. Huaihai Road, Shanghai's second commercial street, is now completely shut down from the first to the third floor. The former internet-famous shops on Donghu Road have also closed. On Yongkang Road's Cafe Street, half of the shops have disappeared. Didn't they say every inch of land is precious? Now even foreigners have left, and this is happening in the city center. How can the suburbs survive? Lujiazhui, Shanghai's pride, has also been hit. On Dongchang Street, once a hub for Shanghai's financial elites, pharmacies are closing, and more than 10 stores are empty. If this place can't survive, how can other places? Sichuan North Road, once the third commercial street, now has a 90% closure rate at the mall near the subway exit. From the basement level to the third floor, only one restaurant is still open. The Sevenpu clothing market, once Shanghai's wardrobe, now has more vendors than customers. Some malls look like scenes from a horror movie. Who would want to go to such a mall? What has happened to Shanghai? Why has consumption here dropped so severely? Recently, a video posted by a netizen showed that almost all the stores on Chuansha New Source Road in Pudong, Shanghai, were closed. The 900-meter street had almost no one in sight. With the opening of Metro Line 2, Chuansha became the gateway to eastern Pudong. In its heyday, the street was packed on weekends, with young people squeezing through crowds, holding milk tea and grilled sausages. The air was filled with laughter and pop music, but now the scene is in stark contrast. In a TikTok video, a shop owner smiled wryly at the camera. They said, "Before, people fought to get a shop here. Now I'm offering 6 months of rent free, and no one wants to take it."
甚至早上的8:04。
It's 8:04 in the morning. Before, it was packed with people picking up goods. But now, do you see anyone? I just got here and there's no one. Not a single store is open. They're all shut down. Friends, we might say it's off-season for tourism, but it's way too quiet. Look, you can't even find something to eat. During the 2025 National Day holiday, a netizen captured footage at the Qipu Road Market in Shanghai, which looks like a decaying mall that no one cares about anymore. Looking at the intersection of the Jing'an and Hongkou districts, Shanghai's Qipu Road is East China's largest clothing distribution center. The market covers just half a square kilometer, but houses 10 large malls. At its peak, it had over 3,000 shops and around 4,000 workers. Every Shanghai resident could tell you that Qipu Road was once a top destination. Recently, a shocking piece of news went viral online. The rent for shops on Qipu Road, which were once 70,000 yuan per month, had now plummeted to just 500 yuan. Market research from 2 years ago indicated that the rent for a regular stall was about 200 to 300,000 yuan per year, or around 20,000 yuan per month. Who could have imagined that in just 2 years, Shanghai's commercial market would collapse like this? The departure of foreign investment, widespread unemployment, and salary cuts have become common occurrences in Shanghai. The middle class now hesitates to spend, and white-collar workers are cutting back as well. Ms. Li, who once worked at a multinational company in the U.S., earned an annual salary of 1.6 million yuan. She moved to Shanghai in 2016 to manage the Asia-Pacific business for a chemical company. She said, "I'm struggling. A few years ago, I bought 3 insurance policies in Hong Kong with an annual premium of 300,000 yuan. Now I have to notify the insurance company to cancel 2 of them. Who would have thought it would come to this?" Now, in addition to canceling her insurance, she's also looking to downsize her living space. She said, "My rent is about 20,000 yuan, and I need to move to a smaller place to save money." China's retail industry is collapsing, and some indicators further confirm the lack of consumer confidence. In July, the National Bureau of Statistics reported that the Consumer Confidence Index stood at 89%, staying below 90% for 28 consecutive months. This reflects widespread pessimism about the economic outlook. Unstable employment and stagnant income growth are pushing people to save rather than spend, adding further pressure to the retail and related industries. On September 28th, state-run media Economic Daily published an article that caused a stir in China's economic circles. The title is "Grabbing Consumption Like Grabbing Production." This is not just a slogan, but the beginning of a nightmare. From grabbing production to controlling the pandemic, and now to grabbing consumption, each grip has ended in disaster. The real estate crash has destroyed confidence. As a critical pillar of China's economy, the slump in real estate has directly weakened consumption power and market confidence, affecting the entire economic chain. Without home buyers, the entire consumption chain has been broken. Unstable employment, stagnant income, and the shift towards saving instead of spending have created a depression era where people are hoarding money. A wave of mortgage defaults is sweeping the country, with default rates surging by 46%. Even first-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen are not immune. Meanwhile, state-run media is promoting a false prosperity. CCTV reports on the booming nighttime economy, while People's Daily cheers for the camping craze. But the reality is that shopping malls are empty. The restaurant industry is either offering unprecedented discounts or shutting down. This is the true picture of people's lives. The disconnection between propaganda and reality not only fails to boost confidence, but actually intensifies public resentment. Grabbing production was once the core strategy during China's rapid economic growth, but this model was essentially a top-down political movement. Now, bringing consumption into the realm of target setting is akin to politicizing, even instrumentalizing people's everyday choices. A netizen asked, if production targets are set, will consumption also be regulated, with each person required to spend a certain amount every month? When consumption is framed as a political task or even given patriotic importance, it further restricts people's freedom to choose. If the approach doesn't focus on improving income distribution, stabilizing employment, and rebuilding trust, but instead continues to rely on old methods of administrative mobilization, it will only make the economic winter even longer. Real recovery in consumption comes from the public's trust in the future, not from obedience to policies.